So, can we expect this to happen again? I would say there's a high chance of that. We got debt ceiling confrontations coming up, the continuing renewal of the budget. So they're just kicking the can down the road. Layoffs are inevitable again, especially when you have two so diametrically opposed groups. The question that everyone needs to ask themselves is whether you work for the government or you work in the private sector, how do you layoff proof your income? Hello and welcome back, Gen X fam, and all those who want to learn from our wisdom. We are finally out of the government shutdown. Now, a lot of people are playing catch up right now. They're getting their back pay, but there are some people like federal contractors who are going to be behind on that process. They're not going to get their stuff as fast. Wherever you sit in this situation, and even if you observed it, I hope you paid attention, because I remember when the first government shutdown happened under this administration, I said this will happen again. And sure enough, this is now the third time under that particular administration. So, can we expect this to happen again? I would say there's a high chance of that. We got debt ceiling confrontations coming up, the continuing renewal of the budget. So they're just kicking the can down the road. Layoffs are inevitable again, especially when you have two so diametrically opposed groups. The question that everyone needs to ask themselves is whether you work for the government or you work in the private sector, how do you layoff proof your income? I want you to take serious steps toward this because everyone is vulnerable now. And if you take these steps, you will protect yourself. You will layoff proof your family against layoff. So, step one, get clarity. Lay out everything. Figure out what your cash flow is, what's coming in, what's going out. Figure out what your net worth is. What do you own versus what do you owe? Subtract what you owe from what you own. That will give you your net worth. Once you have that clarity, then you've got to actually start allocating your dollars to a mission every month. I recommend that when you're starting out, you aim for the 70-10-10-10 rule. That means you will live your entire life on 70% of your take-home pay. The other 10s are divided up as 10% towards savings. That's going to build your emergency fund. 10% towards investments. That's going to put away towards your future. And 10% toward accelerating your debt snowball. Because once these three things are covered, you will have more security. In the event of a layoff, if you have 3 to 6 months in savings, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to ride it out until you can find something else. Now, you've already gotten clarity. You've allocated your money. The next thing I'd like you to give attention to is boosting your income. That means if you're working a job, you need to make yourself invaluable. That means seeking ways to increase your skills, having a meeting with your manager, telling them how you want to advance in the company and what do they recommend as the best route for doing that. Commit to putting your full value forward into the company. Don't be the first one out the door. Don't be the last one there. If you really want to make a career out of your chosen field working for someone, you need to produce value and then document the things that you accomplish. This way you have a running record of how you are contributing to the value of the company, and if you are demonstrating that regularly, checking in with your boss on how you're doing, making yourself available, and being a team player, then of course you won't be the first one on the list to let go usually. Now, that doesn't mean that you're completely immune to being laid off. So what I always say to everyone is get yourself a side hustle. How do you do that? Monetize skills that you have developed on your job or over life. If you're doing bookkeeping at work, how can you do that for somebody else? If you're cooking in a restaurant, how can you cater events on the side? If you're running facilities, how can you help other businesses run their properties more efficiently? These are skills you can bring to the table. All you have to do is give some thought to it. And then you can actually start your side hustle, build it up, and many people, after building up their side hustle, are able to replace their job income and step away and be completely independent, not having to worry about someone else giving them a check. You write your own check. So the bottom line to keep in mind here is if you follow these 3 steps, you will insulate your family against a layoff. Now, if you're in a business, that's a different thing. What can we do to insulate ourselves against downturns in the economy? I'll address that in a later video. All right, guys, that's it for today. You have a great one, and I'll see you again soon.